watch and listen to their favorite reporters and columnists. Go to theinquirer.com/sports, and you'd be able to read, watch, and listen to our man, Jeff McLane. Jeff, good morning. How are we?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Let's start with the not-so-beautiful stuff. Brandon Graham is done for the season. I saw the video of when he announced it. You were right next to him, and everybody kind of had the same reaction of, what? You're kidding. What does a loss to Brandon Graham mean for this football team, not just on the field and production, but off it as well?
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't really surprised. I mean, I was watching what was happening on the sideline, and that pretty much indicated something bad had happened. So, and then the fact that he would tell us, too, doesn't really surprise, because that's just kind of the way BG always handles his business, and he's not going to hide, and he wasn't going to wallow in the moment. And I respect him, respect him immensely for handling it that way. And, so that's that. But in terms of the loss, I mean, I think there's been a lot of focus of, what it means in terms of the locker room and the leadership. But, I mean, I think on the field, it's a bigger loss. He might be their best all-around end. And now you're losing him. He's been playing around 45% of the snaps. He's been doing it as a rusher. He's obviously been doing it. He's probably the best end on the team in terms of stopping the run and setting the edge. And he definitely does bring that kind of energy that you want out of that position during the game. So Bryce Huff is his season is not technically over, but I mean he's gonna be out for a while too. So you're losing two guys at a position that quite frankly, I already thought it was Finn. I thought it was Finn heading into the season. Josh Sweat has been playing better than he was a year ago, and that's been key to helping that unit. But doesn't necessarily qualify as bona fide number one end. That's going to require teams to try and double him. Nolan Smith's been playing better too. He gives a lot of good effort, but lacking in size can hurt him at times against better tackles. And Jalix Hunt is just a developmental guy. He's still very raw. I think there's a lot there to like, but clearly the Eagles know that this needs to be addressed. And Howie Roseman already went out and picked up somebody up off waivers, brought someone to the practice squad. But at this point in the season, it's going to be hard for them to really upgrade that spot. But we'll see. We'll see how things play out.
We talked about the game in Los Angeles being a real test for that Eagles secondary. And just the Eagles overall, going out there, that defense. What did you see? What were you most impressed with, in that effort? And how do you think that can translate to success down the line?
I mean, obviously the players are going out there doing the job. I mean, it's about them in between the stripes. But Vic Fangio again making in-game adjustments. They were moving the ball on the ground and through the air, and that's what having a bona fide defensive coordinator who can see what's happening from upstairs and then instantly kind of make a change that will affect how the defense is covering and what they're doing up front. And I think that kind of obviously played a huge role in it. It helped that the offense was moving the ball and being successful. So that, again, when you get complementary football like that, it helps both sides of the ball. I mean, look, I mean, the back four, and if you want to kind of include, the back five, if you want to include even the linebackers, that's been a huge difference this year for this defense. And, last year, a lot of it had to do with the injuries. They lost Devontae Maddox right away, and they never really had anyone that could play the slot position. And that just trickled down. You had Slay was out for some time. Reed Blankenship was out for some time. The other safety spot, with Kevin Byard, he didn't really perform very well. And now, you have upgrades at those spots. Certainly with Cooper DeJean, since he had gotten the spot, they promoted him at the bye. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson brought in to upgrade the safety spot. And the big thing that a lot of people may be missing is that they're just healthy. Darius Slay, they've only had one of those back seven. They've only had one missed game to injury. That's it. Now we'll see what happens with Slay. He left the game with a concussion for this next game. But I mean, that's that plays a huge role, not only just in having those guys in the field, but in terms of communication, playing with each other. It's a huge part of why the defense has had success this season.
We're speaking to Jeff McLane on the Comcast Business Hotline. Jeff, is Saquon Barkley the greatest addition, either via free agency or trade, in the tenure of Howie Roseman as the GM of the Philadelphia Eagles? And if you could go even further back, is there any player, maybe other than T.O., that rivals what Saquon has done in his first year as an Eagle?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a fair point to bring up. If you have a guy that's a legit MVP candidate, and you just brought him in, yeah, sure. It's definitely one of Howie's best moves. And credit to him because, they had to kind of go a little bit outside their comfort zone and bringing in a running back that was making that kind of money. I think it's been overblown a little bit in terms of because the cap went up big time. And if you look at the numbers, percentages-wise, it wasn't that much of a reach. And this is the guy that they clearly identify as a three-down back. They thought that behind their offensive line, he would excel, and the fact that he can get yards after contact, that he would be an upgrade over to DeAndre Swift and Miles Sanders, who had preceded him, and that's what's played out here. I don't think they even expected him to be this great, and he even said himself, he wasn't sure if this is how it was going to play out, but it's been a great signing for Howie Roseman. All the credit to him.
We talked earlier, you mentioned about Vic Fangio and the adjustments that were made. Kellen Moore, it seems like, as the second quarter goes on to the fourth quarter, they're the best offense in the NFL. They have all week to prepare for the first quarter, for the initial game plan, for the scripted stuff. Why isn't that better? It's the most confounding thing about this season so far.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little better this week.
Right.
Only 3 points, but
a little better.
Yeah, they just stalled a little bit in the red zone there, but I thought the game plan was a little better this time, and the execution was a little bit better there. I think some of that falls on talent. I think some of that has fallen on Jalen Hurts and the struggles that he's had in the passing game, and it seems like I think it's a little more of Jalen, for some reason, whatever it has been, is needed a little more time to get comfortable. And then they've been great. I mean, you look at the numbers in the second, third quarter, it's been great. You'd ideally like that all four quarters.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the scripts sometimes, and a lot of teams depends. Some teams have 15 plays. That's generally the number. Some have 10, some have 20, whatever it is. And these are plays that you work on. These are the ones you want your quarterback to feel comfortable, and you're trying to get him comfortable out there. And then for whatever the reason, I think defenses have done a very good job of just throwing curveballs at the Eagles, not showing them stuff they have, showing them, putting stuff out there that they haven't really shown on film, and that's kind of confounded, I think, Jalen Hurts. So I think it's a little, obviously, in the coaches, but I think a little more so on Jalen,
Jeff,
to be quite frank.
You're the man. We appreciate it, as always. Glad you had a safe trip back from L.A., and enjoy your Thanksgiving tomorrow, brother. We really appreciate all the time that you take coming on the show this season.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Talk to you soon.
There he is, Jeff McLane on the